record. Hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 400 for January 20th, 2020. It is also the exact day, 11 years ago today, when this show's first episode was recorded and aired. Yes, 11 years. 11 years we've been doing this, and I have no idea how or why. I didn't really expect it, but I'm so lucky to have been involved. So let me introduce everyone around. But first and foremost, there's a face here that you don't usually see, even though he has been on every show. That's all 400 shows. That's 2 more shows than I've been on. Mr. Michael Manring, is joining us. Thank you.
Yay!
Music.
Our local artist.
Yeah, and yeah, an amazing artist who and a wonderful friend who's been so generous over the years and in supporting the show. And I say that like he just said we could do this. He hasn't sued us, so thank you for that. I appreciate that because God knows we get enough cease and desist letters. Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and the pleasure is mine. Thank you so much for your interest in having my music on the show. I usually am better heard and not seen, so I'm it's probably the best way to do it.
Spoken like a real studio guy, you know? Like, what do you mean heard and not seen? Yeah. I have been told that I have a face made for radio, so I understand. I get that. You have a new record out called Small Moments that is fantastic.
Thank you so much. I do. It came out just a few months ago. It's kind of a pandemic record, but it's all solo bass tunes, kind of like the beginning of this podcast. And you can get it on CD Baby if you want, but I think maybe you better go to Bandcamp instead.
You had to go there right away, right for the jugular. You know, if you're buying Michael's music, you buy it anywhere you want to or anywhere you can. And I make the CD Baby joke because they've given us a hard time about using some of his music. But the important thing is supporting the people that help support the show. And Michael has been one of the big ones who's given to us unstintingly, I guess. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, even when we were doing the short, so we needed a shorter version, Michael was very accommodating and made a special cut just for us. It was great.
Just jammed out a special, yeah. Okay, here you go.
It's my pleasure, believe me. I'm glad to support you guys.
Oh, it's been wonderful. So I'm sorry, I kind of yacked and anything about Small Moments? You want to talk about that for a minute? And
it was a pleasure to do. I mean, it's a kind of a bizarre thing to do solo bass music. When I started doing it, Russell remembers because he was there. It was not a thing that was done, and I was disadvised to do it by every record company person there was, except Russell, I think.
Oh, did Will say that?
Oh yeah,
really?
He was not really. He was not a fan.
Oh my. Okay.
Fortunately, they were very supportive of the other music I was writing, and I enjoyed doing that very much. But I always wanted to do this solo stuff, and so this is my second recording I've done of all solo bass. And I have to say, in the end, both recordings have been, more successful than I expected them to be. That's for sure, and more successful than any solo bassist should expect their music to be.
Wow. It's weird because I mean, yeah, you have how many solo records? 8? 9?
This is the 7th.
The 7th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Typical marketing guy. Got to inflate the numbers. They all went platinum.
Right. Every one of them.
Yeah. Every one of them. But it's hard, with the changes in the music business. Some of your stuff isn't even available anymore, sadly. Like Thonk, one of my favorite records of yours, the one where we kind of met and worked, you can't even get it, can you?
You cannot get it legitimately anywhere. Fortunately, somebody's put it on YouTube, so go and listen there. And and if you like it, that's great. It's kind of I decided at one point to kind of do a sort of semi-heavy metal record, which was I had a great time doing it, but it was a strange thing to do at the time.
It was, my wife and I were talking about Excuse Me, Mr. Manring, which is the song that came from your, do we call it an audition with Metallica?
Oh no, I never auditioned. I just the bassist from Metallica. I practiced a lot at the airport when we used to go to airports. I would spend the time waiting for planes by sitting and practicing. And I've met some interesting people that way. And one day the bassist from Metallica tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Manring, I don't want to bother you from practicing." And that's what I associated with that song ever since. So that's what I got called.
Was it Jason Newsted?
It was Jason, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
Very good guy.
Anyway, just I don't even know where I was going with that, but love that. I missed that album, and it's a shame that it's not available. You at one point had told me that maybe you were trying to get the rights back, but that's like nearly an impossible task.
I mean, it's been a kind of weird and complicated story and not very interesting. I keep getting really close, and in fact, one of my friends got through to somebody at Sony, and they said, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll put it on all the digital platforms right away. Tell him to make an announcement on his social media," and they didn't. They never did it.
Oh.
So I don't know. It's Sony is such a huge corporation. Literally, it's possible somebody there doesn't like me. Maybe somebody there doesn't like bass or something. But yeah, no, they've never put it out. Maybe someday they will. And it's been all these years. It's been that one and a few others have been completely unavailable in any form for 20 years now.
Yeah.
Man.
Is it possible that you're huge in South Africa and you just don't know it?
I'm hoping I'm huge someplace because I got kids to put through college.
Yeah. I haven't had a good run-in with Sony either. I think that if a rights holder that's not the musician or anybody involved in the creation is not using it for this long, they should revert back to you guys so you can do something with it.
That'd be nice, and eventually it will revert. In fact, I got my first one back
Nice.
last year, and so another couple of years, just by default, it has to come back to me.
Unusual Weather?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and that one's actually out. Somebody re-released it. I can't remember the name of the company. But
Was it the Valley Media thing?
maybe. I'm sorry.
A couple.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think they took two of your first two Windham Hill records.
Just the first, just the one. Yeah.
Just the one?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Well, Michael, thank you so much. I know you have to. You have some other things to go do tonight, and I'm so grateful that you were kind enough to spend a few minutes with us and say hi, and to give me a chance to thank you in front of everybody on the panel, everybody out there. Thank you so much for everything. And it's been so fun. It's like I get to work with you still every week. It's nice.
Well, it's absolute pleasure for me. Congratulations to all of you on this amazing milestone. You've had amazing success, and I hope it all continues. It's just a thrill to be involved in only this very small way.
You are involved in a pivotal way. And luckily for you, you don't even have to show up. That's the best part.
We've got the best theme music on YouTube, hands down.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. And just keep going. You're doing great.
Thank you, Michael. And I hope we talk again soon.
I hope so. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
See ya. Patrick had something he wanted to talk about.
Oh, are we going right there?
Let's go right there. I feel like going there.
So life is short, and so I want to get to this. So this arrived just an hour before the show. Are we doing it? Or is it too early for this? Am I?
Oh, I was actually thinking about the subscribers, but
Oh,
if
no,
you
no,
want
well,
to booze it
I
up,
was gonna
buddy.
do that.
If you
Yeah.
want to booze it up, you do it.
I am thirsty. So Tesla Tequila, and I'm gonna pour some out, and we can give a little description
Is that
of it.
made from the
Oh,
mold
we
of
can
the
use
Cybertruck?
toast to 400.
Yes, for
Actually,
number
yeah.
400. This is made from agave, Paul. Agave is a succulent related to cactuses. It's not a cactus, but like aloe or something.
I swear it was made from former Tesla Home Energy employees.
Yes.
Isn't that? Are you sure about it?
Tequila is people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what to number 400. Cheers, all my friends here. Thanks for letting me come and play in your sandbox here. And I've been on for I don't know how long now, long time. If you go back and listen to some of those early shows, I could not get out a complete sentence. Every other word out of my mouth was or ah. And doing this forum has really helped me to overcome that. And I thank you all for stumbling through it to get this far.
So do you owe us for speech therapy?
I think so. I think I got some really great speech training here. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
this is way better than Toastmasters.
I can send you an invoice. You know, that would no. Patrick, it's been so wonderful having you here. I totally have not done any introductions in this show. But I'll get to those.
Yeah, please don't let my drinking get in the way of that at all.
Well, I just, I mean, like so many people who've been on the show over the years, Patrick started as a viewer or an arguer or something, and we connected, and then, hey, why don't you come on the show and tell me just how stupid you think I am every week?
Well, I was putting on an event at Pioneer Courthouse Square here in Portland. We were having an electric car get together, and I sent you guys a message saying, hey, will you mention this event? And then I was shocked to hear 3 days later when the show went off, Tony started talking about this great event that's going to happen in Portland. And he read all the details I gave him and gave me this plug. And you guys had never even heard of me. And yet you were willing to share this information. And I just thought that was so cool that you were actually listening to your viewers and helping get that message out. And that was awesome. And then like a week later, I wrote a blog post about it and said, hey, will you guys share this? And you said, no, but you can. No. And I was like, what? No, I don't do that. I don't speak publicly. No way. Not going to happen. And then like, well, okay, too bad. It would have been really nice to hear from you. And so I did it. And luckily back then it was audio only because there's no way I would have made this step. So you eased me into it. Audio only at first and then video. And here we are. Every week
and beer and tequila.
Yeah,
Right.
What drives us to drink?
Which, for those of you who don't know, was an actual show that we did, and it was.
There might still be episodes floating
3
around
monkeys, 7 umbrellas, some code I'd never understood.
Yeah.
We not only had the most bizarre and totally not understandable rating code system, but we were all wasted by the end of every show. And
Oh
it was
my
just
God.
like a half an hour, 40-minute show. I mean, it was
it
when you were all in college drinking heavily per show. Because
No.
I might have been.
I'm now willing to go back and do some research.
Yes, liver
No, it
workout.
was like Russell, Cooper, and me, and we were not like sommeliers where we would sip, swish, and spit. It was I'm drinking 3 beers in an hour, and I'm telling you about all of them.
Spitting is alcohol abuse. Don't do it.
Oh no, it was a fun
God.
show to do. I don't know what it was like to listen to. I'm too horrified to go back and check, but to do the show, we had a blast.
I remember the first half of every show.
I just remember the dumb rating system that I came up with, which was like, it looked really good on paper, and then to actually use it, it was like,
it was a lot of fun.
Monkeys or swords? I forget.
And we didn't care.
So let me introduce everybody here on the panel, and we'll get going. You've already met Patrick Connor. Patrick, you're with oeva.org. That's the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. And this is your chance to say something else, Patrick.
Oh, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. I recently got Powerwalls, and they're my fun new toy, and so I'm writing a bunch about those. If you're interested in Tesla Powerwalls, check it out. I'm working on everything you've ever wanted to know about Powerwalls and more.
Nice. You have 3?
3, yes, yep.
3.
2 white,
just
1 red.
to be a show off.
Yeah, it's fun. And right now I'm coming to you solar powered. It's dark outside, and yet this is being powered by sunshine that I stored in a box today.
That's the
Unlike
idea.
some deadbeats, this is plugged into the wall.
There you go. Well, let's see. On my screen, at least, on that side, is my co-host and good friend, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
And I got the good friend nod. That's awfully sweet. All right,
I think you
I'll mail
both.
you a check. Yeah. So hey everyone. So basically what I want to do to start out is I want to thank those of you who recently subscribed to the channel. We did hit 2,000 for our 400th episode, which is awesome for us.
Oh,
You
I'm
know,
sorry.
you hear about these influencers and they have like 100,000s and whatever. No, we count every single subscriber as important. And
Some
to
of them
that
twice.
oh my God, whenever possible. I'm in Illinois, so I count our living and dead subscribers equally.
I was waiting for that.
Beyond K, I want to say thank you for subscribing to the show. Jim Hawk, Windstar 2199, Richard Jacobson, Arnab Kura, Philip Metcalf, just to name a few of the people who have recently subscribed. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. And like I said, we do take notice. So thank you for subscribing. Get your friends to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, you know that, but it does help us out. It helps the algorithms. Leave us comments. I've been kind of away. If you've noticed, I just took a quick sabbatical of personal time, and now I'm coming back. So I'll be trying to respond to all of your comments like I usually did. But yeah, leave us comments and tell us what you think of the show. Tell us what you think about the topics, and we'll, we or I will respond, whenever we can.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tony.
No, I was gonna say, so happy 400.
Happy. Thank you. Thank you very much. I was just going to say, Tony, just yesterday or day before, I was in there having someone tell me how stupid I was because I didn't like the 2017 Kia Optima Value Edition. And what an idiot I am. And I said, well, I am an idiot. I'll give you that. But that car wasn't a very good car. Anyway. So yeah, go in there because I love it. If you care enough about something we've done to tell us why we're stupid, I'm cool with that. Especially if you can be detailed and creative about it. I get it. I don't think anybody here thinks they're right all the time. Well, there may be one person. But I'm not going to.
Which brings us to Mark Coughlin.
So
Nice transition.
I wasn't going there. In fact, I was going to my other co-host who, thankfully, Georgia, thank you so much. Last week when I was unable to do the show, Georgia grabbed ownership of the show and ran with it and did the show without me. And you know what? The show's maybe better without me. That's the sad realization I had watching 399 was like,
apparently 68 subscribers thought so.
yeah.
Told you boys, if you just started showing some skin, you get more subscribers, and I see a little bit more neckline from you people, and it's working. Good job. Next time, booty shorts. So
I'm not wearing pants. Does that count?
you got to lift a little leg up, though. We got to see some calves. Remember, the calves bring them in.
Oh,
Yeah, this would also increase our ratio of male to female. That would be nice.
That's right. Some spike heels will get you guys prancing around in the background. It'll be perfect. Don't worry about it. And no, I did not grab the show. I manhandled it just a little bit, but I did not grab it in any way that could be assault worthy. But I am very glad to be here, Russell, and I'm glad you were here too.
Thank you.
It was
Thank
a
you.
consensual manhandle.
It was very consensual.
Let's see, next to her, well, not next to her, sort of in the corner square, as they used to say on a famous American game show, my friend in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to show 400. And I wanted to thank Tony and Russell, who are the ones that I first connected with when I was just a listener and they responded to me after I sent them some notes, and I got the kind of the same push that Patrick did. Is like, why don't you come on the show and tell us about it? So that's how it all started with me, and how I got to be part of the group. So I certainly appreciate it and have enjoyed it over the years.
It's insane. And how many Tesla Life episodes now?
185.
Yeah, almost 200. And
Yeah.
this show and that, I mean, it's crazy.
It is.
It's
really
beautiful.
It is really weird. Now, I was told last week that there was cake.
I was told Russell was bringing cake.
Yeah,
How
so
did you forget it?
where is the cake? I didn't get. Did
Where's
anyone
the
else get
cake?
cake delivered to their house?
The cake is a lie.
I figured that was going to come up.
The cake is a lie. Okay.
Oh, I thought you just meant the music. I was.
You
the
weren't
band
watching
cake.
show 399, obviously.
I did watch 399.
No, Tony.
No, me.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, I was just
If we
kidding.
play cake, we're gonna get a copyright strike.
Yeah.
Maybe one of them.
From CD Baby, right?
Or worse than them.
everybody.
Yeah, probably Sony.
Everybody. Well, let's see, going around the corner, our friend who founded and operates Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, happy 400, and I'm drinking a beer. What else is new? And as the others said, thanks to Russell and Tony for hanging in there, getting this show on the road, and keeping it going. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Paul's.
And that guy Danny, who used to be around, but I don't know.
Well, since you brought him up, Danny was going to be here tonight. I communicated with him just before the show, and unfortunately he was stuck at work and couldn't get out. And that's why he's not here. Do I believe that? It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. He's just not here, and we miss him, but you know. I can't think of anything rude to say.
Danny and his Honda rants.
Danny's Honda rant. Yeah. Yeah. I miss Danny on the show, but you know, then again, it's opened us up from other people that I love just as much. And speaking of love just as much, our friend in the Mid-Atlantic region, the king of the superchargers, Mr. Kacey Green.
What's up, everybody? It's a beautifully warm 32 degrees out, and my Scotch bonnet peppers are ripening. So soon, some spicy foods. So Russell contacted me and was like, hey, you want to be on the show? And I said, yeah, might as well.
I did actually recruit you, didn't I?
Yeah.
That's right. You had just stopped doing Wayne's show.
I did.
Yeah.
And I put out feelers like, hey, you cool with me jumping ship? And he didn't answer. So I said, all right, bye.
Boy, Wayne. Ooh, I'm not even going to bring that up.
He's still doing all right. He doesn't like Tesla, it seems, but well.
But he likes
Get
Shell.
over it. He loves
That's
Shell and Toyota and Ford. So as soon as Ford makes some good EVs, well, they've got the Mach-E, so we'll be good.
Yeah.
Casey's arrival was perfect timing. I had to take a little hiatus, and it brought another Tesla owner with the engineering mindset that it was like perfect. That was great because someone has to be here to keep the show on the rails, because it's not going to be Russell or Tony. They're happier off the rails.
I didn't realize there were rails.
Are we having a problem with Patrick's feed? I mean, he's cutting in and out. I don't get it. It just like I only heard part of that.
That's what they call
Picking up a
selective hearing.
serious hiss.
I have been drinking.
So we've kind of done, I don't really have like an official retrospective or anything other than to say, in the 11 years that we've been doing the show, we've changed it up. Tony, by the way, Tony was our first guest. On show number
guest.
1, it's Danny and I with Tony Schaefer
Well,
as
yeah.
a special guest, hypermiling expert, Tony Schaefer, and co-founder of was it Chicago Hybrid Group or Chicago Prius Group?
It was originally Chicago Prius Group, and then we wanted to bring in more people and not be so exclusive. So we went to Chicago Hybrid Group.
So, yeah, that was show number 1, 399 shows ago. And aren't you glad we're still not doing that?
And there was a while where Tony had his hyper miler minute in every show. Just one little hyper miling tip.
Wow,
yeah.
Patrick. Nice one.
Wow, good memory.
And
yeah.
what drives us? Whose idea was the show name?
Tony.
That
Tony
was
named the
me.
show.
That was actually.
I don't remember what we were going to call it before that, but we had really bad names, really horrible names.
It was like Russell and Danny can't think of a name for a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, we were just lost. And then Tony popped off with that and it was like, Eureka. And it stuck. Now, I haven't had too many people. I'm sorry.
He hasn't been able to get rid of me since.
Oh, Tony. But nobody's told me it's a bad name, which is nice. Because usually I hear when I've named something and it's bad, I like get that feedback right away. Like, who named this? Because this is dumb.
As long as it's not your children saying that to you.
Yeah.
About their names.
So yeah, I mean, we go back to January 20th, 2010 was our first show. And since then, the changes in just everything have just been crazy. I mean, when we started out, it was a very Prius focused show because it was the Prius, there was the Insight, there was some weird little things like the Corbin Sparrow and some other the home DIY people and a
Zap.
couple of
And
the
they were
Ford
just talking
truck.
about the Chevy Volt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've certainly, I think we've grown with the category, with what's going on. We've kind of broadened it out a little more into sustainable energy, which is good, and mass transit, things like that. Cause it's not, when we started this show, when Danny and I started the show, we both ran Prius websites. Danny's much bigger than mine, way huge. Mine was a tiny little thing, but so we were focused all day, all week on Prius, which was fine. We loved that, but we wanted to do other stuff and we needed an excuse. And that was what drives us.
Right. If you had called it the Prius Chat Podcast, you would have been kind of locked in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is probably why I think we only did 10 episodes of the Prius Chat Podcast. Because you're kind of locked in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just talking Priuses.
Yeah. This week in Nerd News.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
A new bumper sticker. It says,
Yeah.
"Nice Prius."
Yeah.
Said nobody ever.
Yeah.
Which I know that would go poorly with the Prius group.
And
Oh,
let me
hard on Priuses, man.
come out of the
I drove a Prius. I'm not hating on the car.
Yeah, let me come out of the closet. In my parking space right now is my much beloved 2008 Prius. So
You just bought one from Boulder Hybrids.
But
I know.
Do you have the cool Prius said nobody sticker?
no, because I fucking hate that sticker. Okay. I don't understand why anybody would put that on their car. Because I think some Priuses are cool as hell.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who tried for over a year to sell Toyota on the TRD Prius concept, and
That would have been cool
Toyota was
Yeah.
not buying it.
because they needed the carbon offsets.
Well, I kind of
Just make it
understand
look cool and have
the
the same
sticker.
powertrain.
If you're trying to say being cool is not my objective, I'm about something bigger and more important than that. That kind of rings with me.
You know,
I'll make sure your children don't suffocate.
Yeah.
my whole thing was just breaking the Prius out of one mold so that it would be a more broadly appealing vehicle. That was my motivation, was that this is a good platform. We can adapt it to please other buyers. It doesn't have to be the Harmony, singing about trees and
Fancy pliers.
And then you got a
Yeah.
fat wagon and a tiny little compact car.
I mean, but hell, I remember going back and celebrating when the hybrid market was 0.5% of new car sales, and like celebrating and saying, hey, we're 0.5%. Someday we'll be 1% of new car sales. I mean, think about that. You think of where we are now, you think of EVs setting records, becoming the majority of new car sales in, was it Norway, Sweden?
Yep.
In 2020. And we were celebrating at 1%. It's phenomenal. We kept predicting the day that we would be able to say, now we're mainstream, but we never knew when that day would come. And we knew we were basically shouting into the wind in 2010 with our handful of listeners and people who would spend the time, 2 hours sometimes listening to an audio podcast because we would just talk. And it was really just friends getting together and chatting about hybrid technology, ripping on General Motors for releasing the Ashes to Ashes study.
Dust to
from the
dust,
think
yes.
tank. Yeah, the dust to
Oh.
dust, the whole, and I mean, by God, people actually listen to 2-hour audio podcasts, and it was just us talking. And here we are. I mean, literally 10 years later, and hybrids and EVs are, omnipresent. They're ubiquitous on the roads now, and in a executive order signed by our new United States president, we are back in the Paris Agreement, and electric vehicles, alternative fuel vehicles, plug-in vehicles, hybrid vehicles are going to play a major role moving forward.
Yeah, I wonder if the EV incentive will be extended beyond that 200,000, and companies like Nissan, GM, Tesla will be eligible for the tax credit again. That will be interesting to see how that plays out over the next year or so.
Yeah,
It would be nice to see
yeah,
some kind of incentives coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
it
know
would be
what.
nice, and not to get too much into that topic because we talk about these things all the time, but it would be nice to see the incentive go forward, but at the same time, we have to keep pressure on the manufacturers, whether the car manufacturers, the battery manufacturers, to bring prices down so that the incentives are no longer necessary. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
We
absolutely.
can't just rely on federal government to throw money at the problem.
Yeah, because everybody's moved to a new EV SUV or EV CUV. I mean, we need affordable. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that category, but we need smaller, affordable cars as well.
Whether it's what some countries have done, in which they put a price cap on the cars that qualify, so that entry level car buyers can afford it. But if you can afford a $120,000 vehicle, that $7,500 is a smaller percentage than if you're buying a $30,000 car and you're getting rid of a clunker.
Yeah, they just need to make sure that the manufacturers don't say, "Oh, well, ours don't go that low." So, oh well, they need to make sure they actually target that, and then
exactly.
Then
And that's what I'm saying. We have to keep the pressure on the manufacturers. But again, not to totally, sidebar the discussion. But,
And how about getting solar panels back on the White House and maybe a power wall or two in there?
Yes, that's a great idea.
Awesome. Yeah. And you know what? Jimmy is still swinging a hammer, so maybe he can show up and reinstall his damn solar power.
Jimmy Carter is how old? 92 years old? You want to put the guy on a roof and say, install these? Get to work.
He'd do it
You haven't done
too.
enough for your country yet.
Every day.
That's the beautiful thing is he'd be up there doing it.
I know he would. Yeah.
Patrick, I just want to track back with you on something. So Tesla Tequila, the lingering after effects, anything special? Do you feel like inventing tunnels to drive through or going to Mars? Any after effects?
Those are both brilliant ideas.
You've obviously had too much.
So speaking of
He's
tunnels,
going to make a tunnel to Mars.
Speaking of tunnels, man, I got into it on Twitter this week, and it was so bad I had to pull in Russell. And Mark was like, "Why'd you pull in Russell about the tunnels?" And I said, "Because it's bad when I can say that I can point to this guy, and he can say, all right, you have a point."
You forced Russell to concede something about?
No.
Oh hell no!
Oh, okay, all right.
No.
You started it. I got to hear the story.
He still thinks it's silly. It's just that he's like, yeah, no, this guy is not one of the musketeers. He's thinking rationally. He's saying give him a chance with his private money.
No, that's silly.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go to another news story that you may or may not think is silly. I don't know. There was some news on Reuters, and I bring this up because part of this show is about retrospectives and looking back and celebrating where we've been. And Since the beginning of this news topic, I have been in one place and staunchly in that one position. And time will tell if I'm a complete idiot, which I may be, whether I'm right or wrong here or not. But Reuters reported about a partnership that is about to be signed between Apple Computer and Hyundai. This is allegedly to develop a self-driving vehicle. Now, it doesn't say, and allegedly the vehicle will be built in the United States, which is the other reason why I say there's no way in hell Apple's going to build an autonomous vehicle in the US. Not going to happen. No.
They're just going to put wheels on an iPhone or something.
Yeah.
They've got wheels on the Mac.
They're very expensive wheels on the Mac Pro, right? Those $600 wheels. I don't know what it's going to be. And frankly, I'm shocked that there's been this much information leaked about it, because Apple is famous for not leaking anything at all about projects until they're done, they're in the can, or at least until Apple wants. This probably came from Hyundai, who knows? But allegedly this agreement is going to be signed between now and March. Allegedly it will be a prototype, will be available next year. And then production would start of about 100,000 vehicles, between 100,000 and 400,000 vehicles in 2024. What kind of vehicles are they? We don't know. I still say there's going to be no such product called the Apple car. Not gonna happen.
I don't think it's going to be called the Apple car. I mean, well, first of all, Hyundai gets approached by multiple, software vendors for autonomous vehicle cars. They've said that. They've said that publicly. And when asked for comment, is somewhere, and it says that Hyundai has responded that they get, they entertain requests from multiple other vendors. But I don't think it's going to be called the Apple car. I think it's going to be a car that will be based on Apple technology, Apple hardware, Apple software, Apple innards. So it may be a Hyundai, but it may be the Hyundai iCar or something. But I just think that this is Apple getting in the automotive field and trying to wrestle away some market share from some of the existing players.
Or they might co-brand it like the Subaru BRZ and the Toyota 86 are the same car, but Toyota dealers sell one and Subaru dealers sell the other, but essentially the same car. So maybe you go to the Apple store and buy the Apple car that you could also buy at a Hyundai store as a Hyundai car.
Maybe.
Although how the hell Apple can sell cars in their retail stores is beyond me. And
take out one of the tables, put a car.
Yeah. Take out the Genius Bar.
I kind of see that this, I know we're saying Hyundai, but it does seem to me that they want to use the Kia sub-branch of Hyundai. Mm-hmm. And I kind of think this is their attempt to go, well, if you want to mess around with a car, here's a whole branch of cars that are not that huge of a market share, but it gives you an opportunity to get your toe into the waters of doing the interface and the software part. And it's a pretty smart move on the part of Hyundai because they don't have to spend the money on that R&D. They have a name like Apple, which whether or not you love Apple computers or Apple products, can't deny that Apple is still a pretty sizable force to be reckoned with where it comes to consumer electronics and trusted brand names. So it looks like a kind of a sweet synergy. I'd be interested to see what actually comes out of it if it's a real actual partnership, which right now it sounds like a partnership that somebody over in Hyundai and Kia is really excited about, but until we actually see like what's real and what happens, I'm not going to worry about it. But it's a fair cop.
I'm of the opinion that they might have lost the partnership because Apple is very secretive and they don't like people announcing stuff on their behalf, and they don't like it coming out before they can do the magical special. Nobody's ever done this before except 8 times before, but they don't exist. And So I have a feeling that they have probably just lost themselves that contract because of their haste.
Yeah,
see.
I agree. And like Russell said, and Casey, that Apple makes people sign non-disclosures, and non-disclosures with very serious ramifications. So yeah, the fact that this, they're saying 2024 and we're hearing about it now, makes me think that this is not a thing. Now remember, in the past, Apple has what's the word? Subterfuge? Is that a word? They have announced things. They've filed for patents to intentionally point people in the wrong direction. So the fact that
good at
this is
that
so
game.
public,
Oh, yeah.
oh my God, they are so good at that
Yeah.
game. They point people in random directions where they will blanket so many patents. You have no idea what they're up to. Yeah, the fact that this is so public makes me think that it's not really a thing, that this is a misdirection and Apple really has something else up their sleeve.
Well, we'll know in about a month, right?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
Maybe.
it will be very interesting. I think Apple's going to license some technology to some responsible car company, and I just don't see them selling cars. It's not them.
Like Apple's perceived as sort of a premium product, and
Always,
partner
yeah.
with Kia, who's trying to get more upscale, but they're still kind of a shitty brand.
That guy's gonna write in
There
again.
goes the Kia sponsorship.
Oh,
Wah,
jeez.
wah, wah.
All right.
But you'd think they'd at least want to partner with Lexus or BMW or
Some other upper middle class brand.
Yeah.
So it could come out as a Genesis, right?
Yeah, Genesis
could.
maybe. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true. That's their high-end brand.
Yeah.
That's
But
why
Kia?
I think
The
that-
Apple Sorrento, like
The apples right now.
the Apple
But then you've
Sorrento-
also got the whole people pod. It is the right thing to do for the environment and traffic, and I don't see Apple wanting to run a fleet of people pods. I don't see what the advantage for them to do it.
COVID.
Well, that too. I don't see what the advantage for them to do it is.
See, and for me, that's the part of this partnership that potentially makes sense. And now the Hyundai Kia thing, which division Apple is connected to, is still part of speculation. I think, again, the Reuters article tends to point to Hyundai is now currently the potential partner. But if you want to raise your brand, it doesn't hurt to say, and all the infotainment is Apple.
Yeah, I can see them doing that, but as far as if there's an actual Apple car, I don't see Hyundai wanting to be a Foxconn. But I can see if they are the Foxconn that they also get a head unit out of it with a CarPlay built in or something.
I mean, if Hyundai had an exclusive with Apple Electronics, that would
I can see that.
certainly be a selling point for them.
Yeah.
But if you were Apple and you had all this autonomous and infotainment technology, you'd want to put it in every car, not just one brand.
Well,
so again, that doesn't make sense.
To
Or
start
you could
with.
use that one brand to roll it out and
You get a
to
2-year
get the others to
exclusive.
want it,
Right,
and then to
right,
pay you a
right.
premium price for it later.
Right.
Let's
Apple
not
already
forget
did
that.
with the AT&T when they
Right.
first started the iPhone.
Exactly.
There it is.
You had to have
Bingo.
ITT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They went. AT&T was exclusive for 2 or 4 years or something before they opened it up. Was it 2 years? So I could easily see an exclusive Kia deal. And I mean, when you think about this grand scheme, and one of the things that I
all
love
these
about my
BMW
Apple,
owners are going to trade in their BMWs for Kias.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
BMW's got the Apple car key. The BMW version of the Tesla key is the Apple key.
Yeah.
And who would want to partner with them when you could partner with somebody who costs less?
But I think Patrick might be onto something. Maybe they're going to use this to get the Genesis brand out there more.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So then,
That's an
would they
interesting
go? Would they go the Apple style? Like, hey, your car is going to get slower. It's going to have less range. It's going to.
Yeah.
They're going to go the Tesla style. Like, hey, here's some free updates. Or are they going to go the Adobe style and say, hey, give us $80 a month and your car will keep running?
Hope not.
Yeah. Too many options.
Sorry.
Well, BMW
I
just BMW just
love
did the
the
subscription
idea. Yeah.
for the heated seats, the radio, all that. It's like $30 a month, and you get to keep your heated seats.
Subscriptions for software are bullshit.
There's a wonderful There's a few wonderful Philip K. Dick science fiction stories where this sort of running subscription theme, like where a resident has to actually pay cash to get out of their apartment. If they don't have cash, they're stuck. They're locked in. You know,
It'd be okay during COVID.
Yeah, taking that subscription model to its ridiculous conclusion. But you know, again, ridiculous conclusions are part of the market now.
Hey, my power company thinks that I owe them a subscription to the Sun. So,
yeah, I remember when I was a kid, we had a substitute teacher come in when I don't know, it was like third grade, and he said something like, "You're going to have to pay for television in the future," and I was like, "It's free over the air. Why would anybody ever pay for television?" And he said something like, "You might have to go up and put quarters in your TV to make it work," which, of course, that never happened. But just that whole idea of paying for TVs. I was like, that'll never happen. It certainly happened.
Well, and manufacturers are sneaking in subscriptions. We had a customer who had a Lexus with a remote start, you know, where you click the regular fob a couple times and the car would remote start. And for years and years and years, Toyota and Lexus have had that. Once you put it in, it works forever. Well, this was like, I think, a 17 or an 18 Lexus. If you read the fine print, it works for 3 years. And then you got to pay Lexus like $150 a year for it to keep working.
That sucks. What? I mean, I totally get it on the OnStar,
on an iPhone
and the Tesla,
app or something. But it was the actual fob for the car. Yeah. The remote stops working.
On the fob is stupid. I get it over the app.
Why Apple is interested, because obviously that subscription fee model, like I've seen a lot of companies start talking about it. And I'm just like, you know what? I'd rather pay you the near grand and just own my shit outright.
That part.
Because I've been paying whatever it is I pay for Adobe software now for over a year, and I'm quite sure I have hit what used to be the $700 that it costs to get the Creative Suite.
Right.
I would actually respectfully disagree with you there, Georgia. As someone who suckered up the $1,200 to $2,000 a year for Creative Suite for a long, long time, I kind of appreciate the $9.99 a month plan for Photoshop.
I'm paying $30 because I need everything. I need the whole toolkit.
And you obviously
Creative Suite for me was like, I need literally the video, I need the audio, I need Photoshop, I need the print, I need everything except for web development. Same. So that means I have to buy the full thing. So I'm jonesing for those days back in CS6.
Right. Right. No,
it's just cheaper for you to get it all than to just not get the part you don't need.
So speaking of getting everything and needing everything and whatever, circling back here to an Apple car, I'm looking at the Apple ecosystem. One of the things that I think is so cool, and I'm going to admit that I'm Apple through and through. Right? I got a Mac right here. I have my iPhone. I have an iPad. And I know that I can pull up open tabs on my phone that I have on the iPad. I can save a password on my Mac and use that password on my phone. I can create a playlist in Apple Music on my Mac, and I can listen to that music on my iPad. Imagine how cool it would be to have customized playlists, settings. I can get directions from point A to point B, sitting at home, send it to my car, and know that Apple's going to do the handshake so that I can get in my car and say, okay, now I want to go to there.
My Windows machines do all that too.
Apple has that no one else has. No other car software manufacturer can actually tie everything together in the ecosystem quite like Apple.
But they could do a lot of that with Apple CarPlay.
Yeah, they got the Apple CarPlay, but like right now, if I am looking at a place on my phone, my Android phone, I can send it to my Tesla. When I get in the car, it navigates. I can pull up a tab on my Android phone on my Windows PC or my iPad.
Yeah,
I mean, Apple has the magical dust, but
I mean, we don't have to argue about which one is better. But
I'm not saying which is better. I'm just saying they have this great mythos of making it seem like they're the only ones who do stuff. But they have great marketing because
everything work together in the same ecosystem to be fluid and just get the things done that you want to do and have it all work for you is great. I'm sorry, George.
I've worked with both, and I work with both right now. and I gotta be blunt, and I love my Android phone. Apple's sync better. They just do. I don't have to do as much effort because I have an Android phone and my Google phone, and I love my Google Fi and everything else, but I have to open it back up and I gotta do this and I gotta do that. Yes, I know how to do it, but it's a few more steps. Whereas if I go use an Apple product, it's tied. It really is just far more like that. So no, neither one is better. They both work the same. They both work well, but just.
I have one example here so I've said repeatedly that I just got power walls. One of the cool things, the feature that it has, is that you can set a percentage where if there's a blackout, it will only charge your car from the batteries if your battery is above X%, where you get to set X and to like 75%. And I was like, oh, how does it do that? Do you have to wire the chargers into the unit? And they're like, oh no, they're all just in the Tesla ecosystem. So the cloud tells the car not to charge if we're in a blackout. And I'm like, oh, that just makes so much sense because it's all in the same, they're all connected devices. They're all cloud connected. They're all in that same ecosystem. So the Powerwall and the car can effectively talk to each other. And that's just so cool that they can do that.
It goes a step further, Patrick. If your solar is running great and you're not drawing from the grid and you've got excess capacity, the car can actually ramp and stick with your solar output and stay off the grid if you're in the middle of peak.
That would be cool. Yeah. 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 Having it do that is like the cars to become an extra sync for that solar. That's just really cool.
Or how about, Patrick, if the ecosystem knows you're not driving to work this week, that it can start using the car as an additional power wall to run the house during the blackout.
That would be awesome. Yeah, the charge units they have now don't have that two-way, but I do have an inverter. I can just go plug it into the 12 volt and I could run a few things off that.
Right.
Maybe that's a hidden feature in the Tesla inverter that came out last week.
Oh, yeah, could be. Speaking of solar, I want to get back. We were talking about the White House, and while we were talking about Apple, I did a little fact checking. And so as we all know, Jimmy Carter put solar panels on, and then Ronald Reagan famously
personally put them on.
Yeah, was up there himself with the.
He was up there, yeah. He was much younger then.
During his lunch breaks.
And then Reagan had them removed. And then I didn't know this. George W. Bush had a small 9 kilowatt PV system installed and 2 solar water heaters.
I didn't know that.
To give you I have 12 kilowatts on my house. So 9 on the White House is effectively
those to
useless.
run the executive toilet.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe the White House is 55,000 square feet. If I remember correctly.
Wow.
So yeah, it might have powered, I don't know, the security system. Okay, but then Barack Obama put on a much larger system. It doesn't say how big, but so there are solar panels on, and I was looking to see if Trump had them removed, and I did find where he had a bike share system removed from White House property, but I couldn't find anything about the solar panels. So I assume they're still there.
No,
Well, they weren't windmills, so they were safe.
Somebody took them as a souvenir when he left. You know.
Maybe.
Along with
But
the China.
I mean, they should be like all over the White House, like
Visible.
prominently
Set an
displayed.
example. Yeah.
Set an example, absolutely.
Put 'em on the
Not on the back wall where no one can see them.
Yeah.
Hidden.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just pulled up from Google Map, and to be honest, it looks like the White House is intentionally blurry, which of course makes perfect sense. There are black objects that may be solar panels, but they're blurry.
It could be SAM sites.
They could be anything, but
They could be snipers too.
yes,
They are snipers.
Yes. But what kind of bastard gets rid of bike shares?
Please.
Oh,
Please. Is that really a question we
What
even
kind of
have
guy
to
murders
entertain?
extra people on the way out the door?
Yeah.
Well, there is that. I know.
What
but,
kind
yeah,
of bastard? We have 4 years.
What kind of person lets out felons on the last minute
Yeah,
of this?
that's even worse than murdering people who might be innocent. Let me just let out people who are admittedly guilty.
Okay. Whoa.
Okay.
Where are those rails? The rails are up.
Way up.
Let's get back
Third rail.
here. Okay. Because we're going to lose some of our panelists. We're going a little long tonight because we've been talking and doing a little retrospective and a little nostalgia wallowing, which is wonderful. But unfortunately, Paul and Mark are going to have to shuffle off here in a little bit. So before they leave, Mark, do you have This Week in Tesla?
No, I did This Week in GM.
Well,
Oh.
then why don't you
Same
run
thing.
with This Week in GM?
What?
GM this earlier in the week announced a little bit of an update to their electrification plans, and they had a bit of a announcement at CES where they debuted a couple of things and wanted to talk about the new product called Bright
Tequila?
Drop.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a brand of electric commercial vehicles that we've always said it makes complete sense to have that type of a system in place. So I'm going to share my screen here.
I was
And there we
trying.
go.
Sorry, Mark, I'm trying, but I think Zoom changed some things on me. I have no idea what it is.
So what we've got here is a FedEx has become a partner with BrightDrop.
Cool.
It's their first partner. And this vehicle is going to get about 250 miles of range per charge. And their assumption is that, it would basically be able to run the day in a city center or, a regional center where they would drive around and do deliveries. The other major difference in this type of a system is they've got these miniature rolling stock, I guess they're storage bins. And these bins will fit inside the truck perfectly. They can be, I guess, daisy chained together while they kind of follow each other. So the delivery man just pulls one of them, and they can be power assisted as well. So they're easier to pull if they're heavy. And we'll follow the delivery man to the appropriate spot, where they can leave the entire unit to be unloaded later, or they can just open the doors on the side and remove the product and drop off, depending on the type of place they're delivering to as to whether it's large or small. And they'll be able to be loaded back into the van. So GM has started this. This new, I guess, a new wing. BrightDrop is going to be manufactured, they've announced, at a CAMI plant in Ingersoll, Ontario. GM is going to be spending about $1 billion to upgrade the plant, which is close to where I am, actually, just down the road from Kitchener. And they will be manufacturing the vehicles there. I don't know if it'll be more than one spot, but this is the first one that they've announced, is to manufacture these vehicles in Ontario. So tie in for me for that. So that would be interesting to see. And of course, landing FedEx as your guinea pig is probably a good idea too. Since they're so adept in delivering packages already, they would be able to tell GM the ups and downs and be able to work through the different, I guess, design thoughts that GM would have and weigh them out into real life as to what happens in the courier service.
Very cool.
Nice. Very cool. Well, thank you, Mark, for that. And that's interesting. Again, commercial traffic is a great place for electrification to start because it's long overdue and it's certainly heavily polluting.
I love those little boxes on wheels, because that is very much like how they do airplanes. They have the containers that are perfectly shaped to fit,
Right.
and they fit. So I mean, you can, in the warehouse, fill those boxes as you're picking product, and then know that they're going to fit just perfectly, and you don't have to take the boxes and then try to Tetris them, and it just, yeah, that's a really great idea. Whoever thought of that, kudos. Gold star.
So those were boxes? Because I kind of thought those were like those supermarket robots
Yeah.
that now roam around some places.
Or at least they have a model of
Robots,
that.
follow me.
Also, Mark, your
Oh,
email.
like the cocktail cart in the airline. FedEx comes to your house and they say, "Would you like a gin and tonic with your package?"
just follows you
would.
around.
Yes, I would. Thank you.
It's a smart system because you can either move the boxes around to the products to stuff in them, or you bring products to the boxes and the drivers roll it out. Amazon does something similar with, they've just got these Tyvek boxes that they load all the orders in, and then each van is loaded with those Tyvek boxes.
And hopefully loaded in an intelligent way, so as they go the route, they're emptying
Hopefully.
it out. They don't have to
Yeah.
all over the van to find your package.
Let's just say if you're
Yeah.
there for more than a week as a driver, they're loaded intelligently. Because if you don't, you don't last.
And then they've got the Kiva robots as well at Amazon. They'll just lift the whole shelf and bring it to the picker.
And with that, I will bid everyone a good night. I've got to go, but thanks very much again for the show 400, and for the rest of you, keep watching.
Thank
More
you,
stuff
Mark.
coming.
All right.
Maybe
See you,
I'll
Mark.
open the border back up now.
Follow Mark online at the Tesla,
Tesla
Life on
Life.
Twitter.
Very good. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
See you, Mark.
Bye, Mark. Answer some emails, Mark. 1,700 emails. It's like,
Uh,
I'm
they
trying to
were
get
all
them off of
mine.
Windows 7.
Patrick, do you want to give us a quick rundown on this week in Tesla since Mark has shuffled off, and then we'll go to Kacey.
Sure. I'll make it quick. So the NTSA has asked Tesla to recall some older Model S and X's, and this is after Tesla did an extended warranty on those. So it should not be that many vehicles. So I'm hoping Tesla does that. Next, Tesla has instructed the stores to liquidate their current Model S and X inventory. So we are speculating that that might have something to do with a refresh coming soon. We will see. Next on the list is Model Y has been added to the Quebec rebate program. So that's $8,000 Canadian that you can get for that. And there's also a Canadian federal rebate that you can add on top of that for, I think it's another 5K. So you could get if you're in Quebec, you can get a nice discount if, and it's cool that the Model Y is now qualified for that.
And the
Next.
second half of that is not currently enacted, but
Oh.
they're working on it. The first half
Okay.
is.
I see. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Mark talked about how that is. They're trying to get that pushed through, and hopefully that it will be soon. Okay. Next,
And-
thanks for the correction.
Continue. I'm going to barge in with another Canadian Tesla story.
Oh,
Okay.
Finish the. Or is that it
okay.
for Tesla?
All right. Next, Sandy Monroe got a new Model 3. There were a lot of things he liked about it inside. He was very impressed with the improvements on the paint. He still had some issues with the panel gaps. There was one spot on the passenger front door where he thought for sure it was going to rub, but it didn't. But it was tighter than it should be. So that's where that one's at. Next, we have Jamie Lynn Spears, little sister to Brittany, reported that Teslas are silent killers and were killing her cats, and that she had some uncountable number of cats that had died. Well, later she retracted that statement and said she never said it and that it was just a hypothetical situation. We were speculating how there might have been some lawyers involved because her second statement was a little worded a little different than her previous statements. So that was a non-story story. Next, new door trim appearing on the 3 and the Y. And if you've seen this, it's just a nice little improvement that strip that goes across the dash extends into the doors, and it's I like it. And it's rolling out, and it started in China, and now it's appearing in more locations, so that's kind of nice. Model Y begins delivery in China in 10 metropolitan areas, so they did this simultaneous release in a bunch of different spots. So the Y is now happening, and we fully expect the Y to be their best-selling vehicle overall, although we'll never know because Tesla puts the 3 and the Y sales together, so we don't get to distinguish between those. But that category of car in general sells better than sedans, so it would not be surprising if that was their bestseller overall, as soon as they do things like this and get their production ramped up all around the world. Next, Tesla signs a 5-year deal with Jeff Dunn from Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia. So they've been partnering with him in his lab and getting some great results toward the 1,000,000-mile battery. And now they've extended that for another 5 years, and they are expanding their lab. They brought in a couple new researchers, so that's great. People with new ideas say, here's all the advancements we've made, and hopefully over the next 5 years, batteries continue to get even better. That helps bring more miles, more affordability, all the things that we're looking for. So that's great, faster charging. Next, a new video from Tesla showing their battery production. It was a really cool video. It has some music playing in the background, and there's a couple little interesting lyrics in there. One, you give me electricity up and down my spine, and then later talking about a 1,000,000-mile kiss. So of course everyone's like, oh, was that a hint that these are the 1,000,000-mile batteries? And so the 4680s are being produced, and this ends with a recruitment. So they're looking for talent for their battery development. And two more. Tesla is hiring employees to deal with the social media issues on Twitter. Because of the way Tesla operates, they get a lot of requests and complaints and other things through social media. And it's not a traditional avenue for these sorts of things, but it's what it is. And so they are hiring people to help resolve customer issues that get reported through Twitter. And it's sad that you have to do it that way, but it's great that they're staffing for it. And hopefully that will be one avenue that people can use to be happy customers. Last on our list is SpaceX. They have bought 2 oil rigs. This is from a company that has gone bankrupt, and they have named them after the Mars moons, Phobos and Deimos. And so they are going to be using these as spaceports, launching and landing rockets on oil rigs, or ex-oil rigs.
Hopefully they clean them real good.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you wouldn't want to light something up that's covered in oil. I'm just thinking that would be a bad idea. Light the rocket, and oh, wow. It's now sinking to the bottom of the ocean. We should have thought of that. I'm sure they've thought of that.
All of a sudden, Deepwater Horizon looks like a birthday candle.
Right?
There we go. That's our week in Tesla news.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Let's go to Kacey for a story. Well, it's a Tesla story.
It was... I didn't bring it up for the Tesla element.
I'm sorry. Let's go to Kacey for a story that's not about Tesla.
It's about safety. So a Twitter account that I interact with, Wreckognize, spelled with a W because he's a wrecker. He operates a tow truck and teaches people how to operate the vehicle safely. They had a video where he was being interviewed about a system he calls Wreckognize, and they have another one called E-mode, where it's the automation of the Wreckognize system. So basically, I was doing part of this and didn't even realize it with my Civic Hybrid. Whenever I was doing any extreme hypermiling, like for a contest or whatever, I would, kill the engine, and if anybody was coming up on me quickly, I would flash the flashers, but I would also, because of the way that this particular Honda behaved, I would also operate the turn signal, and it would make just one blinker flash, and then the other light would stay on. And people would always know exactly what that meant, and they would go around me without hesitation, because I was also riding the shoulder, so the car already looked weird, and now one light is blinking in the direction that is away from me, so they would just go around. And so what he suggested is, since the hazard lights override the turn signals, you just turn your turn signal on whenever there's an obstacle. Say you're coming up on a crash, or law enforcement or other emergency workers, tow trucks on the side of the road, left or right. You turn on your signal and it'll flash probably 1, 2, 3 times. Then you set the hazards, and they override everything, so then you've got all the lights flashing. So you get 3 clicks of that, then you turn them off, and then you get 3 clicks of whatever signal should be going, and then people will follow you in the correct direction, because you will have also pulled over one side of your lane, and it makes the car more visible. And then he also suggested that if you have to stop on the side of the road for any reason, rather than being parallel with traffic with your wheels straight, or kind of ditching in with the rear of your car facing traffic. To just use whatever momentum you have left to get the nose of the car facing out, and then turn the wheels so it looks like you're trying to enter traffic. Everybody will instinctively freak out that you're doing this weird thing next to the road. They know you're not moving because they see the wheels aren't going, so it looks like you're coming onto the road, and they'll give you more space.
Yeah, that's a nice little tip. And they showed some shots of police cars doing that same move. It instinctively makes drivers slow down, because if it looks like you're going to pull out, they're worried you might pull out and hit them. So they respond in a safe manner, which is great. And then explaining the lights is a little bit complicated. It's not that difficult. Yeah. It would add safety. And the reason that the Tesla tie-in was there is that if their AI system could automate it, but there's no reason that you couldn't just do it yourself as a driver. And it was a neat idea. So yeah, check out that video. The link will be in there, and it shows you how to do it and when to do it and which direction. And if it helps make everybody safer on the road, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and once you see it, you'll be like, wow, all of those words for something this simple, but then it'll all make sense. Once you see it, it's like super intuitive. It's like, why not do that?
Mm-hmm.
Very
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very
cool. You know what's? I have two questions. I have one question and a follow-up. The first question is, what's incredibly simple? Using your turn signal. The follow-up question, you know what a lot of people don't do?
They don't use any lights.
And now we're asking them to do this other thing to make everyone else safer. No, great idea. And those of you watching the show, you'll do it.
Yes.
We're just a very small percentage of the general population.
And that's where the Tesla component comes in, where it sees it, it knows it's danger, and it just tells everybody else there's danger. I see it.
Right. And you don't need to have a fully autonomous system to do this, right? You could have
one camera.
Yeah. It could be camera, radar, LiDAR could all do this. And if those systems, even if you're driving, if the system detects this and can make sure the drivers behind you detect it, that would help everybody.
Yeah. What I also think would be cool is if when you hit the hazards, if it asks you if there's a direction, and you could put that, and if you don't put it, then it just does classic hazards.
There you go. Well, let's go to let's Paul music first.
Hey, I'm the one that's been drinking.
I lose
Russell.
the power of speech. Hey, Paul, help me, please. Save me, please, Paul. Help.
So I do got to run after this quick story, but and it might be an old story, but it was new to me. I was watching YouTube this week and saw a Tesla owner with a Model 3 in Elon's favorite province, Saskatchewan, in -27 weather, preheat his car. And it took 4 minutes to preheat from -27 to 20 degrees Celsius the cabin.
Wow.
Which is a gas car can't do it that quick. So the heat pump in the Model 3, I was really impressed with that. And he got into his car and it was nice and toasty. And while he was waiting that 4 minutes, his iPhone froze and he couldn't use his phone anymore. But anyway, Google Tesla Saskatchewan winter. It's a pretty cool little video. And on that note, happy 400, and I got to run.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye, Paul.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
All right.
Safe driving.
Boulder Hybrids.
That's at boulderhc.com or boulderh.com if you want to buy an
Thank you,
excellent
guys.
used EV.
See you guys.
hybrid.
Bye, Paul.
All right. See ya.
As the crowd gets smaller and smaller, we go to Empress Georgia McKenzie. I feel like I have to acknowledge the crown. I mean,
don't know. I just saw it and I decided, yeah, I want to buy a freaking crown and just sit around wearing a damn crown.
Why not?
I like that it's twinkling. Was it twinkling before?
I went for a good, it's actually kind of heavy, and it's a little bit painful.
oh,
Oh, so it's really a good crown because heavy is the crown, you know?
The weight of the crown.
Perfect saying.
That's right. But today, a weirdly auspicious day, toast to this auspicious day, we're going to talk a little bit about transportation. And we've talked a lot about how COVID has really hit public transportation hard, which is terrible for essential workers and terrible for sustainability, because a lot of times once you lose a route, it does not come back. And local governments are not pulling in enough money based on property taxes and sales taxes and corporate taxes to keep funding itself during this incredibly bad lockdown. Um, well, yay, there's a new sheriff in town, and Sheriff Biden, in his stimulus package, is proposing a $20 billion transit portion, which should be enough to avoid major service cuts across the country. So, a lot of people rely on public transportation, a lot of essential workers in particular, who are underpaid for, if they're this damned essential, they should be earning more. Very much underpaid and most at risk because they have to deal with all of us non-essential people who cannot stay the hell home. They need this. And we need this once we get out of COVID, because sustainability, there's no sustainability that will not require public transportation to be a part of the transportation package. So this is really good. Now, we just have to wait until it actually passes the Congress, which is, as always, the actual hurdle is not so much the proposal, but the votes. But this is great. It's good news for us. It's good news for essential workers. Good news for America. So another auspicious day toast from me.
Yeah.
Cheers.
And for those who haven't seen previous shows, I mean, one of the things that Georgia alluded to is something we've talked about, on multiple shows, but a quick recap, of course, is we have a pandemic. You're supposed to social distance. One place that you can't really social distance is inside mass transit, where you're where you're literally in an enclosed space with a bunch of strangers. So we saw throughout 2020 people actually buying more cars because they did not want to take the train or the bus. And what happens then is ridership goes down, the revenue from the fares goes down, they end up cutting routes, fewer stops, and then, like Georgia said, even once we come out the back end, a lot of the municipalities are just reluctant to put the lines back in service.
Yeah, and we saw this worldwide.
Yeah.
People were buying mopeds and bicycles all over the world.
Yeah. Now mopeds and bicycles are great. Bicycles, of course, are awesome, but we need mass transportation. We absolutely need it. And when we see lines being cut, when we see stops being cut, routes being changed, that's never a good thing, because they are reluctant to bring them back. And so we need to make sure that they keep going where they are, so that when it's safe and people feel comfortable riding mass transit again, those avenues are available to them, and we can pick up where we left off and continue growing from there.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they could have put it in some sort of untouchable kitty, like literally just suck all that money that they were putting into maintenance and driver pay and everything else. Maybe keep paying the driver, but everything that was going into that line, just kind of put it on pause, untouchable, and then when we reopen, just turn on the spigot again. But like you guys both said, that's not the way government works, unfortunately.
Yeah. So this is great. Yeah, we got to save it.
The important point for me, aside from the fact that I'm a big mass transit fan, and I've been lucky enough to live in American cities where you can do that, where you can use mass transit, is that the loss of mass transit hits the people least able in our society to cope with that. And that's why it's so important.
Absolutely.
We don't necessarily need to take the group among us that has the least amount of stuff and tell them, now you got to go out and buy a car, and you got to insure it, and you got to put gas in it, and you've got to maintain it. And we don't even care about the extra pollution on the road, because you're going to buy the cheapest thing you can buy because you don't have a lot of money.
It's even if they can get a license, or if they haven't been, some people can't get a license for various reasons.
Sure. So mass transit is important, whether you use it or not. It's important to you. It's important to your family.
The air you breathe.
Yeah.
Hey, and if you are a worker with disabilities, a lot of times mass transit is your primary mode of transportation if you don't have somebody who's there to take care of you. And as we all know, it's not always possible if you have a disability to have a caretaker who can drive you around. So it's a really vital resource.
And if you are sitting in traffic jams every morning and every evening, don't you wish everyone else was on mass transit?
Yeah.
Every
Absolutely.
time I'm sitting in traffic and you see the bus go by in the special lane or ride in the shoulder or whatever the agreement is for the buses, it's like that's awesome. That's another 50 people who aren't clogging all this up.
And they're sitting on the bus listening to music or reading a book or trying not to breathe air, who knows what, but they're
Even a book.
relaxing. Yeah. They're not.
Napping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be me.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's do some shout outs and go home. I think we've worked hard enough tonight. I'm going to start with Kacey Green.
Hey, it's Kacey. YouTube.com/Kacey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. I put out a bunch of videos for you this week, and I'm currently working on a video. It's in my editing deck. You can't see it on this other screen because I didn't hit screen share, where I received a bunch of people on some of my videos talking about how they could get in and out of the gas station in 3 minutes and fill up, and I got so annoyed by it that I actually did the math and went ahead and videoed somebody getting gas, and the results might surprise you. Take a look. It's coming up in the next couple days to a week. Next couple days, because I've actually, for one of my resolutions, I don't normally do resolutions, was to put out 104 videos this year, and so I don't have that much time to let it sit and simmer, so I'm going to finish it, and you'll see it soon.
And get it out. Get it up. Wonderful. Mr. Connor.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I also blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. I recently posted something I called the Tesla cycle, where owners are so enamored with the product they become shareholders, and that increases the revenue, and shareholders have been making so much money off their stock investments that they're able to go out and buy the product, again increasing the revenue. And this cycle has been going on for a long time. It's certainly not perpetual motion, but I know I fall into that category. I invested in the company 6 years before I bought any of their products, and when I did, I was like, oh, I get it. They're way ahead, and bought more. So that's worked out really well for me. And I think that might be a lot of what that self-feeding cycle might have helped get them quite a ways in their recent past. So we'll see. Anyway, that's what I got to say. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And as always, Patrick gets extra kudos for being the person who deals with our social media on Facebook and on Twitter. If you see exciting news, it's because Patrick put it there.
Thanks.
Of course, I'm excluding all the times when he trolls me by putting up news that he knows is just going to like make me go, "Arr!"
Yeah, I haven't been. Yeah, you haven't fallen for it like you used to. It's not as much fun.
I'm learning. After how many years now? 5
11.
years? Well,
What do we call that? We call that growth.
Oh, that's sweet.
yeah. Not girth, growth. Thank you very
Growth.
much.
Well, I've taken on some of them trolling duties. I'll just put
Yeah.
stuff in the show that gets him.
Casey has been your troll compadre. And
Yeah, like I
get
said, he
that.
was a perfect replacement for me when I took my hiatus.
Nice. Well, let's go to the Empress herself, Georgia McKenzie. Any shout outs this week?
I don't know, but I'm going to continue with the jazz hands from Kacey. Jazz hands. So, welcome. Thank you for being here with us for 400 episodes. I know I haven't been here for that long, but it does feel like it was. No.
Ow! Ow!
To be fair, that was 2020. It felt really long.
How
That was a long decade.
expect me to do that joke? Come on, y'all have been around me. You know I go for the low hanging fruit sometimes.
Mhm.
But thank you, and thank you for the signups too. Once again, though, if you haven't, hit like, hit subscribe. You deserve all this goodness in your life. You know you do. Just go for it, and we will see you next week. And I'm going to roll right back over to Russell.
Thank you so much, Georgia. And I've been waiting for over a month to say this. And I'm very happy to be able to say, Tony Schaefer, bring us home.
Well, I am going to start with a shout out of my own, and I want to give a shout out to the United States' very first second gentleman. Peace. Way to break that glass ceiling.
No more holding men back.
Yeah.
Right.
Howard,
See,
that's right.
no more holding back the white man. There's not a position we can't hold. No,
That's
of course,
right.
I'm just kidding.
With a
Of
death-like grip.
all of the ceilings and of all of the firsts that were set today in the United States, of course, I'm just kidding about that one. It's a monumental day in the United States. Really looking forward to what the future brings. Again, a shout out to all of our subscribers, our most recent subscribers. Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Really do appreciate that. Speaking of which, I don't know where you got this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, then that's great. And if you're listening to it on audio, then maybe you got it from like Spotify or Google Play, TuneIn, or iTunes. Go ahead and subscribe there, and you'll go ahead and you'll get new episodes every time we release them. So yeah, do a subscribe, do a thumbs up, tell your friends, sign up your dog or your cat. I don't care.
He doesn't care how you do it.
We don't.
This is not voting.
We really don't.
I want to thank everybody who's contributed to this show on the panel over the years, and lots of people that couldn't be here with us tonight and just weren't, and that's okay. But I'm not going to name any names because I'll forget someone or I'll forget a group of them. And all of you, if you've been on this show, thank you so much for helping build what we now comfortably sit atop of and enjoy, because all those contributions were important. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for his theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Buy his music anywhere, even the execrable CD Baby. Buy Michael Manring's music, please. Besides being a wonderful friend and a really, honestly decent human being, of which there are far too few in this world, he supports the show, and we appreciate that. So manthing.com, you can learn more and get links. His new album is called Small Moments. I want to thank everybody who was on the show tonight: Georgia McKenzie, Kacey Green, Patrick Connor, Tony Schaefer, Paul Guzik, and Mark Coughlin. And of course, one more time, Michael Manring for a personal appearance. Most importantly, thanks to all of you. 2,000 of you idiots are subscribed to this. Thank you so much. That's amazing. I have no idea what you get out of this show, but I am so glad you get something, because we love doing it for you. And without you, I mean, we might still do it, but it's more fun to do it for somebody else. So thank you so much. Please continue to share and suggest that your friends subscribe to the show too. It costs you nothing, and it supports us in lots of important ways. That's at youtube.com/what drives us. We're at What Drives Us all over social media. What Drives Us on Twitter, facebook.com/what drives us. Follow, complain, whatever you like. We're all good with that. Most importantly, of course, again, thanks to all of you who listen and subscribe. It means the world to us. So thanks for 400 great episodes. Tune in next week for episode 401 and find out what drives us.
Stay positive, test negative.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Hey.